All right, let's get started. Boom. All right, everyone, welcome to the first NASCAR live stream. Happy to be back. Uh, got our three coordinators here, Matt, Mike, and Coop. Uh, Make sure you guys head over to yourdfsplaybook.com while we're still building the Run Sports site to check out Coop's article and the playbook, which are both already live on the site. And, guys, why don't you go one by one and say hi? Mike, you start us off.
I was messaging in chat. Hey guys, as you can see, we got all of our faces up. It's our first pod. I'm really excited to talk to everyone about some NASCAR for once. It's not just me, so yeah, this should be fun. Let's make it short and sweet because we want to get this out. So whoever wants to go next, I guess Coop, you want to do a little rundown or something?
Yeah, man. So pumped for this race. It's like one event I look forward to every year is the Masters. And I'm like a little kid when it comes to that event. Like I don't sleep and I run on adrenaline, basically through the Masters. And this race today, to me, is like the Masters. There's so much hype for it, and it's so big, so huge, and it being in Darlington means so much. I think if it was in like a Michigan or Chicago or something like that, it wouldn't be as impactful. But to be at the iconic Lady in the Black Darlington Speedway is awesome.
Dude, what?
Holy hell, my thing froze.
Yeah, I don't know what the. Someone. There we go. Should be good. He wasn't doing this last night, that's for sure.
Coop and Maddie still there?
What the hell? Dude, my mouse is running around like crazy. What the fuck, bro?
Frozen such an ugly face.
You've been hacked.
Technology at its finest.
I'm loving it.
Hey, don't be rude.
No, this camera froze on my face. I look like an idiot.
It should be back. Let me make sure.
You guys look all good to me on my side.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. Let's keep this going. I'm still recording, so Coop, why don't you Maddie, why don't you say a little
It's
something, and then we'll get Coop to do the course preview. Might have to do this faster than we expected.
What's up, guys? Matty Ice here. You guys usually know me from hockey, but big NASCAR guy. Today should be fun. Darlington's one of my favorite tracks. Old school track, rough surface. Usually the cream rises to the top here, so should be fun. We'll break this down for you guys, cash game GPPs, and go from there, man.
All right, Coop, why don't you hit us up with how this is all going to go?
I think in general, you need to expect the unexpected because none of this has ever happened before. These cars are going straight from the hauler right out to the track. No practice, no qualifying, no nothing. And it's going to be wild. You're going to see some crazy stuff at the beginning. Somebody will probably not have all their lug nuts on, or they'll not have their window net tightened, or they'll have issues communicating with their spotter. Something weird is going to happen at the beginning. Like Maddie was saying, it's a tough track to start on. And with the heat today, it's going to eat up the tires even more than what we typically see in Darlington. And you're going to see what they call comers and goers quite often because if your car is not handling very well, after you get about 5 or 10 laps on them, you're going to fall and fall like a rocket. And you're just going to have to wait until you get a pit stop, or you're going to have to pit on the green if it gets to that point where it's so bad. So expect the unexpected. I think you should play this with the randomness, like it's a super speedway track, like Talladega or Daytona. But there could be a decent amount of attrition from a couple accidents and mechanical issues. But I think the randomness of, there's a lot of people that are in play, more so than what you see on a weekly basis.
There you go.
Right. I mean, everybody earned their position based upon a drawing. Nobody knows who's going to be fast. Nobody knows who's going to have a good long car speed. So it's all, up in the air. No,
I wanted to ask
being in Darlington won't be boring.
Coop, I wanted to ask you, what do you thinking these guys are going to get on tire runs? If it goes green?
25 to 30.
That's what I was thinking too.
And I think every time there's a caution, you're going to see cars go down the pit road, whether it's after 2 laps or 3 laps.
Yeah, I agree.
Because that's going to give them another chance to adjust the car too.
Yeah. At lap 30, we do have that competition caution as well too. I can't remember.
Right. I mean, I don't think people understand that, when they have these practices, they'll go out, they'll run a couple laps and they'll come in and they'll make adjustments to their car. Those adjustments take 10, 15, 20 minutes. Sometimes, they strip all the parts and replace the parts. None of that's going to be available to them today. If you're not where you want to be at the beginning of the race, it's going to be a long haul for you.
Well, I mean, Coop just touched on it. They were talking about how no one really earned their starting spots. They're kind of just given to them. But Brad Keselowski starts on the pole. I think for cash, I think you have to go with Brad Keselowski. I know we'll get to GPP talk about him, but I know for GPPs, he might not be the top play just because of the ownership. But he's one of the best guys at this track, basically. He's got the best chance to lead. I don't think he's finished in like top 8 or something crazy. He's at the 3rd best. I think I wrote this down. He's like the 3rd best with excluding Larson in like the last year, something crazy like that. I don't know where my notes went on this guy. I just lost them, I guess. But yeah, I mean, Brad Keselowski, I think is the clear spot for cash games. I mean, that's where I'm probably going. I know, like I talked about, Coop, I think it's fading him, but he's a big GPP guy. So I think, you guys can talk about Brad Keselowski. I don't know what else to say about him besides that. I'm locking him in for cash games starting on the pole. He's up top, got the speed. What do you guys think about Brad Keselowski today?
Go ahead, Matty.
Well, early in the week, I picked Brad to win the race. I'm not going to come off that. Penske's usually been quick out of the box, but this year they've struggled a little bit coming out of the box. But I think clean air is going to be huge. I think if you're out front, your car obviously handles better than when you're surrounded by 10 guys. If he gets out in front of Bowman, I think he's probably got a good chance to lead to the competition caution for sure. And then he's not going to lose any spots if he's leading at the competition caution because they're doing the pit stops and waves and giving those guys a chance to adjust their cars. So I think you can go Keselowski in cash. His ownership kind of scares me because it's very, very high. So I think going off of Brad makes a really nice pivot. If something happens, you're going to leap half the field.
Yeah. If I was playing cash, I would start with Ty Dillon and Kurt Busch, as they're going to be the most 2 popular drivers in cash. And if you don't play them and they do well, you're done. Whereas if you play them and then they don't do bad, it's not going to hurt you. After that, I keep hearing people say McDowell and Nemechek, and that's basically for saving money. They do have upside. I like them in GPPs, but I would stick with Chris Buescher and Tyler Reddick. Buescher has been phenomenal at this race track. He also has done very well to start the season. And, if you start with those 4 guys, I think it leaves you around 10.8K. I think Buescher and Reddick have much more upside than McDowell and Nemechek, as they can finish much higher than them. So that's where those 4 is where I would head. As far as Keselowski goes, I do agree he'll probably be popular. But I think what you need to do, if you look at the route I'm doing, is you just need to use that and pick 2 players, and hopefully they perform well for you. My whole thought process with Brad Keselowski is this is unfamiliar territory for him. He usually doesn't start up front or even on the pole. And he's more of a manager of his car who prefers strategy. And I think the Candyman, who's going to be starting in the row behind him, is a much more aggressive driver than what Keselowski is going to be wanting to do at the beginning. The clean air will help him, but I think either Matt DiBenedetto starting right behind him or Kyle Busch is going to heat him up pretty quickly because they're both going to be aggressive. And typically they're both better off the hauler than Keselowski.
I'm with you there. I love Rowdy.
I think Rowdy's more GPP for me this week. I mean, he's aggressive. He's good on steep tracks.
The thing with Rowdy, if he gets out front, he's going to be hard to pass.
I just don't. I agree. Obviously, I mean, I just don't think. I don't think Brad lets up the lead early. I think he gets out in front. I think he's going to lead like Matt was talking about. He was talking about the first 30 laps. I think he leads that through the competition caution, and I think he leads at least the first 45 laps here at least. And then if he finishes in top 8,
the big kicker here is setup. So if you don't hit setup, Keselowski can go first to 20th.
That's the thing. That's why I'm playing 3 lineups today. I'll have him in at least one of them, and I think he's going to lead at least the first 45 laps, and then maybe more. Not right off the bat, like maybe down the road more, but he could get past. I mean, obviously, yeah. I just think there's a good chance that he doesn't, and he starts off pretty fire, honestly, and just leads us early. And then if not, my second favorite dominator is Kyle Busch. So I'm not too far.
I think if you play Keselowski and cash, you're banking on his ownership and it being high. And if he does bad, you're more safe. Because I don't see the upside. Yeah, I don't see the upside.
I haven't seen any ownership projections here in the last hour or so, but Rowdy's probably going to come in at close to half of what Keselowski's going to be, I think, just because of price.
Oh, easily. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know. I think BK gets a strong start here. He's good at this track. I think for cash games, he's the route. Like Coop, you just said, I think we see 70% owned maybe for him in cash games. And I'm willing to eat that chalk here for cash games. For GPP, I am definitely fading just because it would not be optimal to run that.
No, and GPP is going to need him to lead a ton of laps.
Yeah, the other cash player that we haven't touched on is Eric Jones. And I think, he's a very good option and he'll be very highly owned. I
mean, we all know that's my favorite guy, I think. Overall on the slate is Eric Jones. I think I predicted Maddie, you talked about predicting Brad Keselowski early in the week. I said I think Eric Jones wins this week. I guess he's a little more bold than Brad, but he's been good at this track. The only problem is every time I decide to lock Eric Jones in as a big play, he decides to have some kind of mechanical issue. So let's hope that doesn't happen today. Exactly. When he just gets put at 20th. I mean, he's got good speed here. I think I'm pretty sure he won it here last year. So Eric Jones 20th. I think he's top 10, locked in for top 10 at least.
He should have very good speed.
Yeah, I think NASCAR. We see so many ties. The ownership is so high on the drivers because you only have so limited amount to pick from, and you got to take stands. And that's what I intend to do. You know, I'm going to be heavy on Kyle Busch, heavy on Denny Hamlin,
Hey,
Ryan
cool.
Blaney. Yeah.
Kyle Busch failed tech twice and is starting in the rear.
Well, that changes
awesome.
that. I
There
guess.
goes two of my lineups.
Does that where's he starting from? Being scored from now?
I'll find out right now. Papa Grass just tweeted that out.
But obviously, I said Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott are the four that I'm hanging my head on this week. I don't have any issues playing Kez, Logano, or Harvick. They're all fine plays. I just don't see them being aggressive. Harvick will not push his car. He'll drive what it gives him. And if it's not good at the beginning, he's going to drop like a rocket. Logano is starting back and back in the pack, ninth. He struggled off of the haulers, and I could see him dropping also. The thing with Logano is he really doesn't push once he gets behind. So he's not as good of a long car, driver. He's more of a speed. So, but at the top, that's where I'm at. I have no interest in DiBenedetto, Bowman, Amarillo, Jimmy Johnson.
I mean, yeah, you touched on like that you're fading Harvick, and obviously we talked about that in chat. I'm more all in on, not all in, but I'm more in on Harvick. I think he's got a really good chance to be another dominator this week, depending on where Kyle Busch is scored from. That's going to play a big role. And I guess, I mean, he's getting scored, not scored from the back, but he's in the back. That's going to bump Harvick up. I think even more for me in my projections for him. So I don't know if that's going to change your thoughts on him, Coop, about maybe bumping Harvick with Busch in the back. But Harvick's just another guy who really runs well at this track, really good at managing tires. Average finish of 4 here. He's starting 6, so it's not really big in the place differential. He's led laps here. I think he's gonna lead laps here. So, I mean, I've been saying it to Coop like all day. Basically, I don't know how you're fading Harvick. I think you're crazy. And he's just, I mean, Coop's a stand guy. He loves taking stands, so I don't hate it. But Harvick would be a hard guy for me to fade this week. And then Elliott, you touched on. I like Chase Elliott this week. He surprisingly might end up in my cash build. He's been one of the fastest drivers this year, actually. So obviously I don't include Daytona with that. And Chase Elliott doesn't have the best track record here, but he's been fast. I think Elliott could have a chance to lead laps as well as finish in the top 5. So Elliott right now is tiptoeing around my cash lineup, and he might end up in there. A guy priced around Elliott is Martin Truex, who I will let Maddie talk about because I know Maddie is more in on Truex than me and Coop are at the moment.
Yeah. I'm a big Truex guy. He's in great equipment. Starting 15th, so you get some nice place differential there. He's never been good on the short run, so with him, I think he's safe with massive upside. If they get a run where they get a green flag stop or two, I would expect him to make some big moves towards the front.
So I got a quick question. So
yes.
You guys just mentioned that.
Okay, Ryan.
You guys mentioned that news right now. Is Busch still playable? Scored from 6?
No, he's going to be scored from the back because the grid is official, actually. So I'm going to lower my ownership. No, he's gonna get scored from in 4th, but he's gonna get moved to the back because the grid was official, I believe, before it was announced. So I would lower my ownership on Busch, but I mean I wouldn't full fade if you're like multi-max entering or any type of that. Maybe 10+ lineups, maybe have him in a couple, because he still could get to the front, make some in-race adjustments, and then potentially dominate the latter part of the race. I noticed in Coop's article, he actually had some cool stats in there. He talked about having over the last 3 years, there's been one race where one guy's pretty much dominated it all, and then beside that, in 2019 and 17, it was almost evenly split up between 3 different drivers. So definitely gonna lower his ownership, it's gonna lower his ownership, except for the fish that are still just gonna keep him in there. So you might get, like I said, the latter part of the laps led for Kyle Busch.
I mean, he's probably going to pass half the damn field in 30 laps.
You mean in 30 seconds?
No, maybe
Rowdy don't mess around, baby.
But yeah, I mean, he should, by the time the pit stops come, he should be running top 20, I would think. Don't you, Coop?
Yeah. This really sucks. I got 55% Kyle Busch.
I'm very good.
As soon as that news came out, I was like,
I got a lot of work to do, man. So, and the other piece too is that it just inflates the ownership for Harvick and Hamlin and Truex and Keselowski also.
Maybe you can get some Harvick in there, Coop. You get some Harvick in there now.
I have some Harvick.
I think Coop was talking about guys like Dillon, McDowell, and Nemechek. Those are probably the top 3 value. I think Dillon comes in as the highest, then JHN, and then McDowell, I think, would be a good pivot off either of them. Obviously, the safest is going to be Dillon. He's just got a great track record here. That being said, I mean, I like McDowell and Cash just because taking that value and maybe trying to go a little bit different might not be the worst thing to do. But this API, I know. I can't figure out the background. But yeah, it might not be the worst thing to do to get a little bit different in cash games, just because if you are going to play Brad Keselowski, then you are going to get that 70% ownership, especially now with Kyle Busch in the back. His ownership should go up. So I don't hate maybe changing up that value a little bit.
He's being scored from 4th.
Yeah, no, he is being scored from 4th. But that's why I'm saying Keselowski's ownership is going to go up with Kyle Busch.
Yeah.
In the back, it's going to move a little bit of that ownership over. Yeah, no, that's all right.
So
I mean, yeah.
So we know Dillon's going to be popular. I guess we're hearing 25% on McDowell and Nemechek.
I think I think one of them is going to be a little bit higher than that.
If they go that high, I mean, I'm still going to play them, but I will be either underway or at the field ownership, because if they're that high, that means that Chris Buescher and Tyler Reddick are going to be lower, and they have much, much more upside than the 2 of them.
But there's also a big price difference there.
It doesn't matter. I mean, to me, I want the upside because Buescher and Reddick can finish in the top 10. Nemechek and McDowell, if they finish 20 to 24th, that's a great finish for them. There's no way
that's also very true.
that they finish in the top 20 unless there's a lot of attrition.
I mean, nobody's mentioned Ryan Newman either. I know he's coming off the injury, but Newman at 6,500 is just too cheap for a guy with that much talent.
Yeah, I'll have some Newman. I also think Austin Dillon is a great pivot. He's run strong here. He's great. And then Christopher Bell, I have some of him. There's just so many players that are drivers from 7.4K on down that are playing this week.
I even have some Ricky Reckhouse.
Oh, yeah, I have
okay, you're crazy.
I think we should. Ricky's a great.
I think we should state that. We should state that we're talking about guys that are starting pretty much in the back, and I feel like if we don't state guys like Dillon, McDowell, Nemechek, and any guys usually those kind of back burner guys almost aren't really playable on FanDuel for anyone in here that plays on FanDuel. When we're talking cash games and stuff, when we're talking DraftKings, because on FanDuel you want guys like Coop just said that have a chance of finishing top 10. Reddick may be more playable on FanDuel because if he does finish top 10, top 5, then there's big upside. The chances of a guy like Dillon doing that are almost slim to none. So I feel like we should definitely mention that. be people that play FanDuel.
The other cheap driver I have interest in is Cole Custer. I mean, his track record in Xfinity is incredible at Darlington and Homestead, and there's similar tracks, high banking, run close to the wall. I think he's finished first or second 5 times in his last 6 races there. Sure, he's starting 14th, but I could very easily see him holding his position or finishing 7th or 8th. He has very good equipment. His equipment is much, much better than any of the drivers that are priced around him. His pit team is going to be much better than any of the drivers that are priced around him. So I wouldn't have more than 15, 20% because I expect him probably to come in at 10% tops. But I think if he holds his own, and then obviously, things don't pan out very well for like Ty Dillon or Michael McDowell and the people that are priced around him, he can very easily sneak into some winning GP lineups.
So I had two questions in the chat that I just wanted to run by you guys. So I know there's 2 Bushes, but how much Busch is too much? I know that's changed for Kyle, but you mentioned Kurt earlier. He's still a cash play, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. And I think that's more like a multi-entering question, like percentage-wise. I would say probably like you don't want to go over 60%, maybe, just because it is NASCAR.
I have around 50-55% Kurt Busch.
Yeah, I think I'm split on mine as well.
So 50-50 basically on that one. And then I had someone
Unless
ask,
you're crazy like me and you go all in.
Yeah, well, that's true. I've learned from the little NASCAR that I have played that going all in on a driver is a real make or break. So
it's not ideal.
It's hurt really bad before.
There are tracks that you can go all in on drivers, just not this one.
I remember that happened to somebody in Chase Elliott last year.
Yeah, whatever, buddy. But places like California, Las Vegas, where you see low incident rates, you can go all in on them, but not this week.
Would you guys fade BK in a single entry if he's going to be 70%, like you said?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I think
3 entry max and single entry.
You can, definitely. But I think it depends. I think it depends on the size of the single entry, your risk tolerance, stuff like that. If you're playing higher dollar, I think you might be able to get away with it. If you're playing lower dollar, I think you 100%.
So probably like over 1,000 entries, he's more fadeable than something below that where there's less competition. Yeah, that makes sense. Someone just asked 150 lines, 25% Kyle Busch or more. That's probably a you thing, Coop. 150 lines, 25% Kyle Busch.
Is that like pre? I had 55% of them. Right now, I'll probably have 0% of them.
Oh, you're gonna go full fade then.
Yeah, track position means a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, like they were saying earlier, he'll get up to 20th place really quick, but he's going to have a harder time passing the top 20 cars.
Unless they nail
his potential to dominate has been significantly decreased because it probably wouldn't happen until the latter part of the second stage, beginning of the third stage. So
that means Kyle's gonna have negative points to start, right? Because his negative place is official. Yeah.
Okay.
Just wanted to clarify. I'm the NASCAR for dummies on this spot. So okay. So I want to wrap this up and we'll get this on YouTube. First, though, I know you guys mentioned a little bit who's your winners. So Mike, you had pick your winner, and I'm gonna track this. And next pod, I'm gonna put a record up.
Well, mine's a little bit more outlandish. I mean, I guess I'm going to switch mine to Kevin Harvick if we're going to keep track record. I think Eric. I do think there's a chance that Eric Jones wins, but no, I'm going Harvick. Because I need when we put the record up, I got to be 1-0.
Okay, Matt, what's yours? BK still?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with BK. I picked BK before the qualifying and everything came out. I'm gonna stick with him. He likes this track. I think if you can stay out front, he'll be all right.
Mr. Take a Stand. Coop, what's yours? Who's your winner?
Mr. Take a Stand.
Ryan Blaney.
Ryan Blaney.
Love
That's
that.
a stand.
Love that.
Ryan Blaney. I think he's been one of the best drivers so far this year. He's had some unfortunate circumstances. He hasn't drove well here at Darlington in the past, but I think new year, new beginning,
New year,
he's
new
ready to go.
Awesome, guys. Well, I'm gonna get this on YouTube. For everyone watching, Coop's article is up. It's amazing. He went super in detail. If you're like me and you're not a huge NASCAR fan, you're still learning it. A lot of good information. Who to follow on Twitter, where to find data and stuff. The playbook is up. There might be some adjustments with the Busch news, right? Or are we good?
Yeah, I can adjust it. I'll definitely adjust it. No,
Yeah, so
there's definitely
we'll
should be
get
adjustments.
that going. That'll be on the site. It's still at yourdfsplaybook.com. Make sure you follow us here and on Twitter so you get updates as we get the new Run Sports site going up. And we're going to keep doing live shows, so make sure you follow us on Twitch. We'll get the YouTube channel going too. And, thanks, guys, for joining us. And hit us up on Twitter as well. And anyone who's in our Discord, we'll be in there chatting. Anyone who's not, we're going to have news pretty soon about how to get in there as well. So stick with us. We're going to be building something awesome, and we'll see you guys soon.
Thank you.
Guys, see you later.
Good luck, guys.